Hey guys, Luna here, and welcome back to Friendsim 2. Last we left off, we just managed to finish the revolution ending for Route 10. And we'll continue in one cast of trolls. So let's get right into it, shall we? Continue to the next volume. So depiction of death, depiction of state-institutionalized violence, discussion of dead bodies, medical trauma, and sudden loud noises. Obviously, player/viewer discretion is advised. And there's already an alert. Just double checking to make sure. So, Marvo Sotolo cancels planned appearance citing unspecific prior appointments. Sponsored Mr. Kremshell TM detects hazardous substance like a pro. Chanting on Notaria. Rebel terrorists hijack Imperial warship. Tizius. It doesn't matter where you run with that ship, we will find you. And then we're currently experiencing outages due to the server issues at our Eternian routing hub. Interesting. After a while, Vakra switches on the ship's autopilot and walks back into the cabin where you've been sitting, strapped into one of the jump seats for the past hour. This isn't, if you're being honest, a very comfortable ship. Zibidi's was way better, like at least upgraded to business class on a long flight better.
Well, my friend, that's probably on account of your friend's ship is likely a pleasure craft.
Yeah, sure, let's go with that for now.
As opposed to this here, which is a genuine Alternian combat vessel. Skips on the amenities a bit, but it gets the job done.
Speaking of ships...
Oh boy, I'll admit that seeing that thing launch was mighty impressive. Empress is gonna be furious though, her brand new ship swiped from right under the fleet's noses. I expect some heads will roll after that, my friend. Some heads will roll indeed. On account of how they've been chopped off for failing the Empire, you see?
Yeah, you got that one already. You shift uncomfortably in your seats. Is this just about done?
Got another hour or so till we dock. Then you're free to unhook yourself and roam about the cabin and all that.
Is he really okay with this? Dropping you off on an Imperial ship, you mean? He's not putting himself in any danger or anything. Vicara laughs.
Goodness no! You're some kind of rustblood, right?
Sure, yeah, let's go with that.
Why, there's a whole level of spirulina just for us of the warmer hues. A lot of hard work to be had there. I'm sure they can always use more hands.
That's reassuring, you think? You're still trying to wrap your head around everything that's been happening, and your headache that keeps trying to punch its way out from behind your eyes isn't really isn't helping. What would help is if you could answer a few questions. So, what does the spirita actually do? So you know that the spirita is somewhere that purple bloods live, clans specifically even, but that doesn't really get at the underlying question of what exactly the ship's for? Like, do they just kind of just chill up there?
Why, that's a fantastic question. Really top shelf.
So he doesn't know?
Not a clue, my friend. I just go where they tell me and do what they tell me.
Okay, but if he had to guess, what does he think the ship is?
Given the size, I'd wager it's a permanent residency. Beyond that, I couldn't tell you. About as far from a purple blood as it's physically possible to get and all that.
Vicara shrugs and smiles at you.
Best not to worry about it.
Okay, you still don't exactly love the situation, but what kind of cargo is he carrying?
Not entirely sure, my friend. Cargo hold's packed up with a bunch of storage containers, but I haven't a clue what they're storing.
Isn't that dangerous? Like, if he's hauling something potentially hazardous, doesn't he need to know so that he can take appropriate precautions? Like, you don't think Troll OSHA's a thing or anything, but it seems like basic common sense.
Oh, no worries, friend. If it was something that can explode, they'd likely tell me. No sense getting all worked up over it.
Huh. Not the most encouraging thing you've heard recently. You're being kept in the dark a lot more than you like. So what's he planning to do now?
Now meaning when exactly? Right now? Why, I'm planning to drop this cargo off per my very explicit orders.
Well, maybe skipping forward a little, what's he planning to do after dropping the cargo off? Valkyria grins and nods.
I hear you loud and clear, friend. Wondering what old Valkyrie's got in the works?
Yeah?
Why, I'm planning on keeping on with the Empire, following my orders and flying every chance I can get.
Oh.
And longer terms than that.
He pauses and frowns.
Probably eventually die horribly in service of her imperious condescension. But that's...
But that's just how life goes sometimes. That's actually not how life goes. There are so many people where there's specific situation that doesn't apply at all. In fact, you got a couple choice things to say about that. You spend a few minutes explaining the whole locked timeline thing to Volker, who seems to get increasingly annoyed as you explain yourself.
Nonsense! I won't hear another word of that. Ridiculous notions of other universes and mad gods with shiny round heads. I got everything I need right here. And my friend, I'm happy with it. I'm not some attack pilot that'll be burned out in a sweep. I got real long-term prospects, you hear? Another universe. Absolute nonsense, and I won't hear a word of it.
Okay, fine. Jeez, you're just trying to help. It's not like there's not much else you can do right now. Heck, you're not even sure what the spiritual looks like.
Why, that's an easy one. Take a look out the window, my friend.
Valkyra slides back a blast shield from one of the heavy windows on the side of the ship and gestures for you to come over. Carefully, you unbuckle yourself and walk over to take a look. Out in the distance, across the vast nothing void of space, you can see a long, dark shape blotting out far in the stars. The ship is massive, big enough to be clearly seen even this far out, and covered with a series of almost organic shapes from one end to the other.
Real beauty, isn't she? Pride and joy of the Empire.
You're not sure that beauty is the word that comes to mind to describe what you're looking at so much as pure, unadulterated terror, but there's no accounting for taste, right? Valkyra shrugs.
Whatever you say, friend. We'll be docked there soon enough.
With that, Valkyra strolls back to the ship's cockpit, and you're once again alone. You settle back into the seat next to the window, and you continue to stare at as you inch closer and closer to the Spirligida. Something about the thing just feels wrong, like the first moment in a sci-fi horror movie where the Dalek ship first appears, followed by approximately 2 hours of relentless terror. And at this point, you prefer your life mostly free of terror, relentless or otherwise. So you settle down into your seat, close your eyes, and hope desperately for things that things will go well.
Wake up, friend. Time for you to head on inside.
The first thing you notice as you step into the ship is how incredibly empty it feels. The Institutia wasn't exactly packed full of other trails, but there were people there at least. Granted, your only other data point was a newly commissioned warship specifically designed to carry a light crew, but still, this feels empty. Where is everyone?
Don't fret, my round-headed friend. This is merely the antechamber of the ship's lower levels.
Valkyra looks nervous? You don't want to necessarily commit to that, but there's definitely a nervous energy there.
I will admit, being outside the confines of my ship is stepping out of my comfort zone a bit.
Well, he's free to step back into his comfort zone whenever. You already said you were going to explore the ship, and explore the ship you will. Somewhere up there, the Purple Bloods must be living, and that means there's a decent chance that you have to find some more people that you know.
Well, you have the best fun with that, my friend.
Without another world, Valkyra practically gestures back off to his ship, and you're suddenly very alone in some extremely spooky corridors. Well, crap. Time to get exploring, I guess. You spend a decent amount of time wandering around, the whole area looping back into itself over and over again. It's hard enough to get your bearings in here, let alone figure out where the exit of the residential section of the ship is. The good news is that you're almost completely somewhat confident that this remarkably same-feeling corridor will be the right one. You turn another corner and you're struck by a singular thought. You're thinking of a maze again, mostly because the ship's corridors are laid out like one, and you have no idea where to go next. If you didn't know any better, you swear that it's getting darker, not that the ship's already super well lit. You're pretty sure you already went this way. Sudden loud noise warning. Why the heck is it getting so cold? You scream as echoes through the... As the scream echoes through the hallway's metal corridors, you stumble forward across the hallway and into a hatch you didn't even notice before. Tripping down sideways, you find yourself falling. Oh, crap. This can't possibly be real. You were just in the Spondylia. How can you suddenly be here again? How are you even here?
My dear reader, I think you underestimate how thin the walls between reality and fiction are here.
I basically got teleported into the back rooms.
Not to mention your own annoying tendency to sidestep both causality and any sense of proper decorum. Which is to say, you're here now, at least, in a sense.
What?
No, you are unbelievably obtuse. We are talking across both time and space. Across the infinite void of the narrative itself.
I am not surprised.
I would have thought that was clear enough.
I mean, I'm just doing my best to just survive. This isn't the first time someone said stuff like this to you. Is he planning to talk past you now too? To just whatever it is that sits on the other side of the screen? Another entity that exists right beyond the scope of your comprehension?
What are you talking about? I can assure you, the only entity that exists outside of your comprehension is myself.
Strange feeling washes over you, feeling like the world just got another crack in it.
I'm still prepared to be reasonable, you know. Your actions are like tossing stones into a pond. The ripples spread and intersect. Are you prepared to deal with those consequences?
You don't know, is he? Scratch laughs at you.
Oh, my dear reader, this is simply too much. I am perhaps the only true constant in this world. If you care at all about your own well-being, you should find a comfortable hole to crawl into, and never crawl back out again.
You wake up to total darkness and absolutely vile taste in your mouth. What happens? Last thing you remember, you were passing out on the floor, which is definitely not good. If movies tell you anything, you should have woken up in some stranger's room with a rude world scrawled on your forehead, or at least with some concerned faces peering down at you. Not whatever this is. Ugh. And this taste in your mouth is only getting worse. It's like someone put burning shrimp in your mouth and then doused the flames with sweat. Your spit isn't gonna cut it. You need to wipe your tongue off. You can't move. Something has your entire body trapped, pressing you down on and keeping you from moving your lips. Fantastic. Awareness slowly creeps back in and you can feel something lukewarm and vaguely squishy pressing in all around you.
Come on, you gotta help me with this!
I am here to ward off any of the vengeful dead.
Your head is killing you and your body is still all over.
I'll help.
Finally! Just pull these two off the top and...
Wait a minute, is that?
What the fuck is that?
What? Let me see.
Your excitement. I'm trying, because obviously the green is them. Trying to figure out whose voice matches with those two. Your excitement as your old friend Damien again is only exceeded by excitement by seeing Frozen, and you think that's Charm there? Their face is covered with a mask, but you recognize their voice. But your excitement is soon tempered when it finally hits you what's happening. Corpses. You're buried in corpses. Dead trolls fill the entirety of the bin you're lying in, covered in all manner of gruesome injuries. One right next to your face and covered in burns. Another is just a torso, guts spilling out at the bottom. A third is shriveled up like a deflated balloon. You need to get out of here. You open your mouth and scream for help, but something heavy impacts you on the top of the corpse pile and driving all the air from your lungs. By the time you have your breath back, the cover has returned and you're once more plunged into darkness. This time, when unconscious comes, it's a blessing.
See, I told you it was weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember them from the original films. Yeah, I can see it.
Weird is an understatement. This is the most fucked up troll I've ever seen.
Yeah, that Damien's voice fits.
How bizarre. Its body is almost entirely nondescript, except for the markings here on its face.
It's definitely not imagining that voice for Frozier. But I like it. It's really, really good, and I love it.
I drew those.
Why?
It looks so nondescript. Does it matter? Nothing this mutated could possibly be.
Did it just twitch?
Ugh, your head. Where are you now? You open your eyes to find yourself in a modestly decorated living space. Staring down are your three friends from before. You recognize these trolls. You know these trolls. You befriended these trolls. So some serendipitous miracle, you find yourself staring at a familiar face, a friendly face.
Father, if it stares at me like that for 3 more seconds, exorcise it and dump the body in the furnace.
Yeah, Fitz. Hey, you're not it. Wait, what are your pronouns? You never really given the topic much thought, and you really don't have a assigned gender considering as far as you're aware. You're more of a narrative construct given flesh. Maybe you aren't it. Your pondering must have taken you more than 3 seconds because a new figure steps in front of you, pushing your head in with the staff into your chest.
Foul creature, prepare to be cast out.
Like, his voice almost sounds a little bit robotic, which, or auto-tuned or something, which does sound a little off, but, I like it. Oh, Frosta doesn't need to introduce himself. You know his name, right?
What?
Yeah, well, Damien said it earlier, but you knew him before that. Does he not remember you?
I have absolutely no memory of anything even remotely resembling you.
Oh, that's a bit disheartening to hear, but when you first met him, Frosta was going through some weird crap that you never really fully understood, so maybe that fucked with his memory or something? Damien remembers you, right? You went on that grand adventure through the sewers to sack some sweet, sweet sausage.
That does sound like something I do.
Sounds like it. He was there.
Listen, I really don't remember a lot of what happened right after my Lucis died and my hive was destroyed. I was going through a lot at the time.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that. Having your house firebombed and your parents still in it was probably really traumatizing, you assume. You never actually had a parent, but if you did and they were exploded, you'd probably feel really sad. You have to make 30 friends to cheer you up.
Before you ask, I remember absolutely nothing before my ascension, because apparently I had some sort of disorder or something. But I have pills now, so I can actually think and have energy to do things and stuff.
Really? Damn, that sucks. You and Charm did all that art talk? Think about it, you really can't blame Charm for not remembering you. You did kind of just show up, talk about art with them, and leave. Damien gives you a flat stare.
So you're telling me that you've met all 3 of us on 3 completely separate occasions, all 3 of us forgot about you, and you've just so happened to reunite with all 3 of us at the same time?
Yes?
Well, what are the fucking odds?
The slap he gives you back sends you stumbling back on your knees.
Whoa, you okay, pal? I know I must have filled out a bit since last you saw me, but I don't think I'm that strong. When was the last time you ate anything?
Quite frankly, that would explain why we don't have them in our chitter. Cockafin, I know all about you. What? That's a good question. You have no idea. For all you know, your body started digesting itself for nutrients.
Oh yeah, wouldn't have been the first time I've seen that. Stay right there and I'll get you some food.
With that completely unexpected announcement, Damien disappears through the door, leaving you with Frosia and Sharon. So, sorry about the whole screaming thing before. You're pretty freaked out when you first woke up, on the count of the corpses. The look on Frosia and Sharon is giving you suggests that this doesn't strike them as being especially abnormal. Did you mention there was ghosts?
It would not surprise me at all. The vengeful dead are part and parcel of what we do.
Occupational hazard.
Okay, but you did mention a ghost, right? All of the corpses?
Yes, a couple times now. Well, I'm going to my room to get ready for dinner.
I want to snoop in Damien too, but I'm gonna follow Sharon. Sharon quickly nodding to Frozen, you turn and follow Sharon, hoping not to end up getting lost again. Fortunately, Terran doesn't seem to be in a rush to get back where they're going, and you're able to follow them back to their rest block. This looks interesting. Inside the rest block is an absolute chaotic nightmare of stuff. There's posters and action figures and books and a surprisingly robust collection of skulls.
Oh, you're there.
They sound tired, but not in the probably need intimate medical intervention kind of the way they did back on Tyria a couple of sweeps ago. More like just tired from having to work for the Empire.
You could say that. Tired. That's one way to put it.
They sigh.
Is there something you wanted?
Well, as a matter of fact... What do they remember from Eternia?
To be perfectly honest, not very much.
Really? Nothing at all? They don't even remember hanging out in the trash?
That does sound like me, but no, not really. What I remember from Alternia is more like a sense of place, I remember being there, but not really what I was doing there.
Sharon shrugs and smiles vaguely.
Weird thing to say for someone who grew up there, I guess.
Do they remember the ascension and the ordeals? You have a hard time picturing exactly what that consists of from talking to your friends. You get the sense that it was a combination of various kinds of tests, military training, and professional education. You're not sure. The only other olive bloods you've talked to recently were in the army and on the run from being recruited into the army, so...
Don't think I'm much cut out for that.
Sharon flexes out their arms jokingly and smiles.
Are you all set?
No, there's something else. They seem a lot more clear-headed.
What do you mean by that?
Well, they just seem to be more coherent when they talk. Less sedated, more lucid. They're not even breaking their sentences up as a part of their quirk. And you don't think that's just because it's a nightmare of a quirk to automate.
What does any of that mean?
Never mind. They just seem to be doing better, which is a weird thing to say, given how much Ascension generally sucks for trolls.
I don't know that I'd say I'm doing better. Life here is hard. I'm going to die here, I know it.
Oh, that is true. They don't have a quirk.
The only positive is I get my pills now.
They mentioned that before, but it wasn't clear what they did exactly. Some kind of medicine, you assume? Charon nods and grins at you.
They make me feel less foggy. Does that make sense? I had a condition that made it hard for me to think, and it was getting worse.
It seems like it seems to you that Charm is describing some kind of antidepressant or something like that. You're not sure if that maps exactly your knowledge of human sociology, but you're glad your friend is getting better, so you nod and smile.
Still, I wish I could go back to Alternia sometimes.
Well, you're not going to make any wild promises, but maybe there's another planet they could visit. You know, another planet that you can go visit, a cool place called Earth. In fact, you lived there originally, you think. Well, maybe not the version you lived on most recently, but there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, right. How am I supposed to visit anywhere? They don't exactly give us holidays off. Not even Triza's birthday.
Well, you might know a way to get around that little problem, in theory. Of course, you're still, in spite of everything, working out the details. So maybe they could leave the ship and join you for a little while? Permanent vacation to a considerably less awful planet.
You shouldn't say stuff like that. You never know who's listening. Besides, it's not that bad here. We get food, we aren't being eaten by anything. Honestly, it's fine. Are you all set?
No, there's something else. Where are all the purple bloods on the ship? Get the distinct impression that this was a purple blood ship, but you haven't actually seen any purple bloods anywhere. The people you've talked to and even the bodies you've seen are mostly lower bloods. Oh my god, are the purple bloods killing low bloods for sport? Is that all they do once they go through Ascension?
You're good at jumping to conclusions, aren't you?
So, no sports killing? Sharon shrugs.
I don't know. There's purples on the upper levels, but they never come down here. And the bodies come from all over the place, actually. Spiritual significance, I guess. In all the time we've been here, we never gave much thought to the why of it.
Yeah. Sharon shrugs their shoulders and smiles vaguely.
Sorry, I'm not actually sure. I just do my job. But I know that these folks aren't all being killed on the ship.
I feel like the word all is important there, but you're not going to say anything right away. Probably important to keep it in mind for later, maybe not.
Are you all set?
No, there's something else. So, what do they do here? Like, are they a core processor or something like that? You seem to vaguely recall that another one of your friends using that word once. Sharon shrugs and smiles at you.
Kind of. Core processing is so much simpler. Just take the bodies and dump them in a pile somewhere.
To be fair, you were recently in a pile of bodies.
Sure, but that's just step one of the process.
Okay, good to know there's a process at least, but what do they do specifically?
Take everything off the corpses, give them a good home.
Which, by judging the side of things, is in their rest block. Sharon doesn't bother to dignify that with a response.
I check for anything dangerous when we're processing the bodies, like explosives.
Is that common?
More than you might think, or less depending on your frame of reference.
Okay, yeah, wow, that definitely feels like an important note for later. Charm is looking increasingly done with your crap, and you feel like it might be nice to leave them alone for a little while. Time to go find some other new ones yourself. Look for Damien's room for snooping. So, quick question, not really related to anything at all, but do they happen to know where Damien's room is?
Yes, but they're not there right now.
No, you're trying to get a sense of the vibes, not trying to snoop or anything.
What? I didn't say anything about that.
Okay, bye. You're not sure where Damien's room is exactly, but you're overcome with a profound urge to snoop. so little details like knowing where you're going hardly even matters. You spend a good 10 minutes wandering, but eventually find something that you think is probably Damon's room. It's got his symbol on the door and his name written roughly in Eternian script. Okay, wow, this isn't exactly what you're expecting. The room is stark, brightly lit, and almost completely unfurnished, other than the rubber coon and the fish tank sitting over there. The whole place looks like something out of the showroom and particularly avant-garde furnishing store. You guess you can look around? Look at the books. There aren't even that many books here, just a couple of hardcovers coated in line fare of dirt and grime. You can barely even make out the titles. Looking at a few pages, it looks like these are core processing manuals full of information how to properly prepare bodies. Gross. Hopefully your experience with the dead bodies are over and done with. But the fish. The fish tank sits up against the wall, filled with sand and plants, along with a couple small purple fish swimming lazily around. You got no idea how Damon even got this here, much less populated it with living fish. Maybe the fish here are some kind of weird parasite that lives in corpses? That honestly wouldn't be too far-fetched given everything else you've seen. So, what about the Replicoon? The Replicoon, it looks like it's the same basic model as all the others you've seen, basically everywhere. Nothing special at all. But as you look closer at it, you start to notice small differences between the Replicoon here and some of the other ones you've seen before. The slime looks like it's slightly different shade of green. The quick check with your finger lets you know it's slightly more viscous as well. You feel like this means something, but you have no idea what. Just another piece of information to store in your mental files to pester someone about later. You think you probably exhausted all of your options in this surprisingly minimalistic room. Maybe it's better to do something else? As you're turning to leave the room, something catches your eye, a piece of paper half crumpled and stuck between the Replicoon and the nightstand. Unable to resist the siren song of invading other people's privacy, you glance down at the form. It looks like some kind of handwritten medical report. You're not sure who prepared it, but it doesn't take you long to skim through. It sounds like Damien's having problems with memory loss, low energy, and occasionally difficulty speaking. It kind of sounds like what Sharon was going through back on Eternia. You wonder if Damien can get some of the same kind of pills for his condition. But let's go talk to Frosier. You remember the way back to Frosier's room well enough, so you step out into the hallway with an uncharacteristic degree of confidence. Well, maybe not uncharacteristic. You're not sure that a lack of confidence is the issue so much as a lack of the ability, but you have plenty of time to reflect on that later. After a brief walk along your path, you reach Frosier's open door. So, hey there, Frosier.
Greetings, foul demon.
Yeah, he really doesn't remember you?
Not at all.
Fine. Well, oh, wow, there's a lot of books here. Has Frosier read all these? You're not sure you've seen this many books in one place before ever. Except the library, but you don't think the librarians are expected to read all the books. Or maybe they are on Eternia? You ask Frosier if Eternians librarians, which probably have some sort of silly troll name like barbarians or something, have to read all the books in their librarians? Barbarians?
What? No, that's ridiculous. All Empire-controlled sources of information are staffed by drones to prevent the dissemination of improper knowledge to the lower castes.
Oh, right. Eternia sucks. You forgot about that for a second? Frosier sighs and seems to relax a little bit.
Feel free to take a look around. If you see something interesting, just ask. About the books, not the other things you ask questions about.
Let's see. What does he remember from Eternia? You know that Frosier didn't really remember you.
Not in the slightest.
And you know that you showing up out of nowhere is extremely unusual.
Extremely.
But you swore you met before. You were in a graveyard and you met him and talked about, you're not exactly sure what, but you think it was some kind of like troll Marxism. Does that ring a bell? Then there's a big flash of light and his whole personality changed. Seriously, none of that sounds familiar at all?
Well, I do remember my time in the graveyard.
Well, that's good.
But it feels as if it were a deep and distant dream.
Crap.
And then I remember dreams of a deep booming voice and a green that felt like a warm blanket all around me. I didn't need to worry about anything anymore.
You feel a weird crawling sensation all around your back.
But it's hard to recall it now.
Gotta say, he seems a lot less enthusiastic about the Empire than he was when you last saw him. Frozy is quiet now. He doesn't really look like he wants to talk about this.
There's more to that story than we have time for at present. Perhaps later. Was there anything else?
Why, as a matter of fact... So, what does he do here? You're not exactly clear on what's going on here. You're buried in a pile of corpses, so you know that there's corpses involved in this process, but what does Frosier do? All the corpses?
I'm responsible for ensuring that vengeful and aggrieved spirits don't manifest in our physical reality.
Oh crap, he's one of those people that Stelsa's mentioned.
I assure you, I have no idea who Stelsa is.
No, you mean, he's one of the people who helps with ghosts. Keeps the ship from getting all haunted and stuff, right? Frosier nods thoughtfully.
Yes, that is correct. I'm one of the exorcists responsible for handling the ghosts.
Neat. You'll have to pick his brain about that sometime.
Excuse me? I will not allow you to touch any of my internal organs.
No, it's a figure of speech. Never mind. We're just to ask about ghosts some other time, I guess.
Was there anything else?
Why, a matter of fact, is what's up with the
You'll
books?
have to be more specific. As you can see, I have a number of books.
Oh, it would take you ages to go through all these books in detail, but if you catch your eyes, there's an entire row dedicated to a single series. A simple graphic of a luster set looks a lot like a pig replicating the spot on the spine where the title would normally be. Atop the nightstand, there's a... Wait, is there? I don't see that. Upon the nightstand is a pamphlet displaying some sort of humanoid plant with multiple eyes and way too many fangs for you to feel comfortable. The cover reads Domination Guide, Species 93872 Color Edition, and promise you to contain secret tips, tricks, and cheats to dealing with whatever alien this is. Finally, you see a shelf that's filled with a series of dusty titles of Subgulator Championship Wrestling with Faith, Troll Judaism in the Age of Interstellar Dysphoria, and Snookered, How One Troll Invented a Moon Cult from Scratch. Are these religious texts? You see, Frosier's changed more than you realize.
Was there anything else?
Why, as a matter of fact, what's this long series about?
Trimsha Panchashog.
You aren't even going to pretend you know what he just said.
Written serially by an author who went only by the name of his Lucis, it was intended to be a short break in between larger works. In a twist of fate, it is currently his longest work, with new volumes published regularly. It's been going on so long that it's now synonymous with the author, the original title long forgotten.
Is that any good?
Oh yes, definitely. I'm not usually one for fantasy, but it makes its world feel real. Lots of depth. I have no doubt I'll be reading each new volume until I die.
Sounds fun and exciting, at least.
Perhaps even afterward, if Charon forgets to assign my replacement.
Okay, you think that's probably enough for now, and you get the sense that you're kind of annoying Frosier by being here, and you get the other stuff.
I suppose. I believe that Demon should be ready with our nourishment soon. Perhaps we should go to the cafeteria and await him.
Hopefully his food's good. Would be so. Oh, okay, I just realized I skipped past. The cafeteria is filled with other trolls and salsing around in small groups. Well, maybe filled with is overselling it, and there's a handful of other trolls here, and you can't help but wonder what they all do down here.
Support stuff, mostly. Keep the lights on, keep the pipes from blowing up too much.
Why are they all dressed so differently than Chairman Frosier then? Because they don't work on disposing of bodies because they don't work from disposing of the bodies then that come to the ship?
Simply a product of differing social expectations. This is the uniform as the ship's main expert on the recently deceased.
Cool, and what's with Chairman's outfit?
I just like dressing like this. Who's gonna stop me?
Okay, good point actually. So there was something that you wanted to talk about now that you're both here. Something you find in Damien's room. The two of them look extremely confused, glancing back and forth between each other.
Well, what is it? Don't continue to make us suffer the sting of your silence.
Well, while you were investigating Damien's room, you happened to find evidence that he's suffering from some kind of medical condition that you probably could use treatment. Standard disclaimers that you're not an attorney, doctor, apply, of course.
There's really no way to know.
Actually, we could use the scanner we use for examining bodies.
Okay, but what if Damien has some kind of medical problem? Is there like a doctor you can take him to? The length of the pause is making you really uncomfortable with what the answer is going to be.
Medical facilities are locked off by blood color.
Okay, but that's not ideal, but you think you might have another solution. You know that they don't really remember you, but you're kind of coming out of left field with this, but... You can get them out of here. You spend as little time as possible explaining the locked timeline and everything that's been happening in the last however long it's been. Time is a little slippery sometimes. You talk, and especially when you mention the brilliant white void, Frozen stares at you intently.
There's something familiar about all this, from sweeps ago.
Well, given that Doc Scratch is the same person who just kind of altered Frozy's whole personality on a whim...
And you're from the same place as he is.
Not exactly. You're not from Eternia originally, or anywhere near it, honestly. The story about how you wound up here in the first place is a long one, but the short version is, you're an alien.
Obviously.
But you got friends who can possibly help Damien out, and your planet has doctors on it. Maybe not Italian doctors, but you feel like doing something is better than literally doing nothing here. Before you have a chance to close the loop on these thoughts, you hear a crackling noise and an unfamiliar voice come through a public announcement system.
Attention body disposal. Please report to processing room 1 immediately. This is a priority assignment.
Shit, where's Demon? This is gonna be such a pain in the bulge without him.
Hey, don't worry about that. Let him take a few easy for now.
Absolutely unacceptable. We need someone to help handle the processing duties.
Well, good thing they got someone right here. You just are meaningfully at yourself and waggle your eyebrows.
I guess we could let them help.
I fear you are likely woefully unqualified for this.
That's okay, you do stuff you're unqualified for all the time. Acting as an unlicensed attorney, semi-professional graphic design, acting as an unlicensed therapist.
Fine, let's just go. We'll get in trouble if we wait for Demon.
It is imperative that you understand the gravity of this situation.
Oh yeah, you're all about gravity, like black holes and crap.
I'm not joking. If we fail in our duties, it can have severe consequences, both for us and the ship's crew at large.
Please don't fuck up and kill us. That's the point here.
You follow Chairman Frozy through the series of unfamiliar corridors, finally arriving at a heavy door with a series of warning signs and Eternia all over it. Inside the room reminds you vaguely of an old-timey operating room, but everything is kind of grungy and gross. You're guessing the stale and condition aren't super important when it comes to processing corpses. You're looking around trying to get your bearings. Charm tosses you a heavy apron that looks like it's made of thick leather.
You'll need this.
You struggle to put the apron, while Charm and Frozy both move around the room preparing various objects. Can't help but wonder if they'll explain what it is that you're supposed to be actually doing.
Ensure that the souls of the departed rest easy, or at least their non-corporeal residue essence.
Fozzer's not much for the concept of the soul.
Material reality supports no such conclusion.
Well, you know, all except for all the ghosts.
Manifestations of energy and nothing more. Potentially.
The autocratic decision-making entity is still out on that one.
In any case, you'll be needing this.
Frozy hands you a small tablet and it looks like a palm husk, but less flashy. You're hoping for a pamphlet. It's actually the kind that contains a series of colorful illustrations and guidance in a helpful text form.
Alright, I've got a hot plate of bread loaf waiting, so let's get this shit done with.
I'm actually going to save this here and go back to the main menu. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path, forever might lead you into the future. Goodbye, everybody.